Okay, welcome everyone. I'm Belinda Melaloo and I would like to share with you some holistic solutions for our kids tonight on this quick workshop. So I have been a teacher for around 25 years, a primary school teacher. I have two kids that are 11 and 14, husband and a little pooch, a little dog sitting behind me that's trying to go to sleep. I have been an assistant principal for over 16 years as well. So I've been sort of in that leadership role for a long time. However, 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And it had left a mark of me looking at my lifestyle and turning over what was important and what wasn't important, and my stressful lifestyle wasn't the way I actually wanted to conduct my life, and getting home and working all night and being upset with the kids all the time. So it's kind of all led to this change in my outlook on life, on what's important and what's not important, and change my outlook on chemicals and stress levels and all those sort of things. And it's led me to this wonderful company of doTERRA to basically change the way I looked at our healthcare, change the way I looked at caring for, those things, everyday things, as well as some of those long-term things, as well as change the way I look at educating my friends and my family and my new friends I'm meeting along this journey. So I'm now changing my education training and now turning it into educating and training and sharing with as many people as possible the wonderful life-changing possibilities that doTERRA offer. So welcome everyone, and let's get into it. So when we're taking a holistic approach to raising our kids, it kind of means that we're simultaneously trying to address the physical, emotional, relational, intellectual and spiritual aspects of our kids. So we're taking all of everything into account. However, tonight I'm not a doctor or a psychologist by any stretch. So I'm only going to try and address some of those physical things that a teacher experiences after teaching for so long, some of those emotional things and relational aspects through incorporating some of these essential oils. So a lot of people say to me, essential oils are really strong. Are they actually safe for our kids? And the beautiful thing with doTERRA essential oils are they are safe, they are effective, and they are affordable. But because our kids are smaller and more sensitive than adults, we still have to dilute our essential oils so that they are spread over a further region of skin and diffuse for lesser times, so that our kids have exposure to them that is suitable in ratio to their body shape and size. So, however, if your child has any very specific health conditions or concerns, you always recommend to go and see a doctor and just share with them some of the oils and things that you're thinking of trying, and if there's any medical interactions and things that me as a untrained medical professional may not be aware of. Every child is different, So as I mentioned before, doTERRA essential oils are safe. They are 100% natural. They are plant medicines. They have been used for thousands of years in various forms. And the beauty of essential oils in this day and age is that they can be now purified and specialized so that the compounds and the constituents of each of the oils actually address and do the things that they're going to do. The beautiful thing with essential oils, with doTERRA essential oils, are that there are no addictions. There's no side effects, and there's usually no interactions with other medications. So they really are a special form of plant medicine. Our oils are tested. Not every essential oil company tests their oils for their purity and that the constituents are of the same value and level. However, doTERRA do. On the bottom of each of our bottles, you'll see, I'm just trying to find one with a bright stamp. You'll see like that white writing. I do know that's pretty hard to see, but that white writing on there tells you a batch number. And then you can actually go to a website called Source to You. You can actually type that batch, that top number into that source, and it will tell you the in-house testing that's been done on this particular batch of oils, the out-house testing that's been done on the batch of oils. It'll tell you where every oil has come from. It'll tell you a lot about the country it's come from, the growing conditions, all of those things. And that's completely transparent. So this company doesn't fill their bottles with anything other than this pure oil, okay? And it's tested to say so. And it is very, very stringent testing. So it's very trustworthy. Our essential oils are effective in that in 22 seconds, the molecules, if you open the bottle and smell, 22 seconds later, those molecules will reach my brain. In 2 minutes, they'll be traced in my bloodstream. And in 20 minutes, they will be affecting every single cell in my body, because essential oils can permeate the cell membrane. If you have a look at the graphic here, the cell membrane is actually, it's oily membrane. So when you get antibiotics and you have a virus, viruses penetrate that membrane and actually sit inside the cell. There's other bacterial infections that sit outside the cell. And when you get antibiotics, they are water-based. So they can actually go and wipe off the bacteria and things and wipe everything else out at the same time, but leave those viruses and other threats on the inside of the cells because they can't break through. Our oils, however, are oils. So they can actually penetrate through that oily membrane, and they can actually treat and work on that threat on the inside as well. And, you know, also treat the threat on the outside without wiping everything else out at the same time. Essential oils can be seen to be, because of their purity and their potency, you may be used to, if you're used to using essential oils, you may be used to using 10, 15, 20 drops if you're diffusing. With doTERRA essential oils, because they are so pure and so potent, you really only need a couple of drops. So if you're looking at lavender, lavender is around $27 for a bottle. It's 9 cents per drop. If you're diffusing to help you sleep, for example, if you're just 1 to 2 drops for yourself as an adult would be more than enough. That bottle is going to last you 125 days. So when you cover and compare that with the cost of modern medicine, so if you compare it with a script, for example, to help you beat a virus, you have to take into account the cost of the petrol, the cost of the doctor appointment, the cost of the script. That script will last you maybe 5-10 days, and then it's finished. However, with our essential oils, if you have a look at the roller there I've made up, this roller cost me $5.40, and that's including all the drops of the basil, oregano, tea tree, lavender, frankincense, cost of the actual fractionated coconut oil, and the cost of the bottle. I've used it over 50 times, like down here and down here of my, to help me with some earaches, and it's still only half full. So if I had to go and get some antibiotics, and of course you will always need at times to go to your doctor and receive antibiotics. These essential oils aren't going to cure everything. So sometimes you still need to go and do that. However, for those other interim times that you're not quite sure, or you want to try this first, some of these remedies will actually really help and stave off some of those long-term infections and bacterial infections. So they are affordable. So some safety tips for using oils with our kids is, number one, don't let them jump up and down on the bed with them. The other things are always teach your children how to use the diluted rollers, especially the kids' oils that I'm going to talk to you about. And in teaching them explicitly, it's teach them that you don't share them, teach them that when you use them, you'll always use them, if they're younger children, use them in front of you, not to go and take them into their room and then use them for 20 times. Always monitor your children and make sure that they know how to apply it. And best be known is to keep it out of child's reach. Treat them as medicine. So just keep them out of the way. So even if the little person does grab a bottle and tries to put their mouth to it, every bottle has a stopper on it. So it will be very difficult for them to actually get a lot of drops out. But rule of thumb with all things that are strong and powerful is to keep them away from little hands. So you need to be mindful of dilution rates, and dilution rates means that how much you mix it with a carrier oil. And our carrier oil that doTERRA recommend is fractionated coconut oil. And the reason why they recommend this oil apart over like avocado oil or olive oil or jojoba, grapeseed oil, is because the fractionated coconut oil stays liquid because the long-chain fatty acids have been removed. And it is really easily absorbed. It doesn't leave a greasy residue on your skin. There's no fragrance with it at all, and it stays liquid forever. So this is the choice. And as the graphic there says, 2 teaspoons or 10 mils of a carrier oil, which is this. And if you've got little babies, 1 drop. If you've got toddlers, 2 drops, young children is 4, and then it goes gradually up. And it is always best to start with less and then see how your children react to it. And then maybe you can add maybe 1 or 2 more drops if you feel like they need a little bit more or they haven't had any adverse reactions to it, and you are being you're cautioning on the less is more side. Okay, so there's 3 ways that we can use our essential oils with our kids. And the first way I always recommend is aromatically. That means that you're putting the oil particles into the air. You're diffusing it with an ultrasonic diffuser, and make sure if you do get a good diffuser that it is a good brand one. And doTERRA do sell some incredibly amazing diffusers. If you have something that doesn't do ultrasonic mist, you're actually putting large water particles into the air, and then that can actually create mold and create other health issues. So make sure if you do get one that it's a good quality one and that it is an ultrasonic one. So with our diffusers, you put like 1 or 2 drops in them, and they go on for, a various amount of hours. Sometimes they have really nice night lights. And then when the water runs out or the timer stops, they actually shut off automatically. So they have a cold water reservoir. So there's no problem of burning or accidents. If the little person does grab a cord and tip it over on themselves, there isn't going to be any damage or it's not going to hurt them in any way. I mean, if they get a little drop in their eye, it might sting for a bit. No eye damage or anything, you'll just need to flush it out with some oil. So oils and oils. Oils will remove oils, not water. You can also apply oils topically to our little people. Bottom of the feet is actually a really good place to put the oils, simply because it has your large sebaceous glands, and it's a really easy point for the constituents to actually be absorbed throughout your body. And we often say to older children and to adults to always put them on your pulse points, which is this parts of your wrist or this part here of your neck. This is another good place to put it topically. These oils are the only oils that can be taken internally. However, I would not recommend your children of any ages apart from older teenagers to be taking essential oils internally, because they are so strong and powerful for those little bodies. So how can we help? Focus. Let's have a look about our kids' focus. Put your hands up and have a think about how your kids go with focusing. Depending on the situation, whether it's doing some homework, some maths lessons, or just giving them a quick instruction, sometimes their ability to focus is actually really quite challenging. Okay, so your focus, if you're having to have some battles, I suppose, with your little people, I always recommend to minimize those distractions. So have everything they need close by, and have a desk or an area that is a successful working environment. So if they have a little desk in their room, make sure it's not cluttered with stuff. Make sure it's got a little container with pens, pencils, rubber, whatever they need in there, and then clear it off for everything else. See if they've got some shelves they can put some nice things and bits and pieces on. But if you want that area to be specifically for their homework, you need to remove those distractions and things from that area. Short, successful bursts is always really beneficial for homework. So 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off. We use a strategy at school called this, then that. And if they're a visual kind of learner, then having a little chart to say 5 minutes of your maths mentals possibly, and then you get 5 minutes of colouring time or drawing time or craft time or something, and have that set up ready there so that they can see it. It is a little bit of extra work for you, but if you want sort of these things to succeed, you do have to put a little bit of that effort in. And the essential oils that we would recommend that you would diffuse close by, not probably, possibly in the same room, would be peppermint and wild orange, because they're both the oils of clarity, and they really open the, focus the mind. They're enlivening and refreshing, so they'll give you a bit of a wake up in the afternoon as well. If your little person is a little distracted and finds it hard to focus at school, always discuss with your teacher. Go and have a talk to them. And at the current environment, obviously an email or a phone call is the best way. Encourage them to sit in the front of the class so that they can actually minimize the distractions of everything that's happening around them, and have a little bit more one-to-one focus with the teacher. Flexible seating, a rocking chair, lying on the floor sometimes if that's workable in the classroom. I find that really an easy way for kids to focus, because they have a lot more body contact with the ground, so they're actually finding a little bit more weighted on the ground. Eyes, you may see if their eyes need any testing done. That's always an easy one just to check off, and it's usually bulk billed, so you can find a pretty good a practitioner that does bulk billing with kids. And then the essential oil that we can recommend, especially if they're school-age child and they're actually old enough, this might be something that you could tee your teacher up with, is taking some Thinker to school. Now, Thinker is a beautiful blend, and all of these kids' oils have been designed with little kids' noses in mind, so they are not as intense as some of the comparable ones. Like In Tune is the comparable one to Thinker, and In Tune is quite an intense smell for us adults, so they've still used oils that are effective in refocusing, but they've used them in a way that they aren't as potent on those young little noses. So for example, the essential oils that are in this one is vetiver, coconut oil obviously, so it's safe for them to roll in their on their pulse points, clementine and rosemary, and as well as peppermint. So it is a really bright, happy, uplifting one that will actually really switch on that brain, which is really beautiful as well. And that focus things with the quick instructions. So always try short, to the point. Don't enter into that long discussion and that arguing and things. It's just, nope, this is the instruction. Try this, then that, and obviously try and turn off a device or stand in front of it. I've often found is actually quite an interesting one. That usually gets their attention real quick. Peppermint is always a good one to rub on your hands, and if you are anywhere near them, they'll actually be able to smell that aroma close by, because peppermint is one of our hot oils, so it's very, very intense and very, very strong, and also very, very beautiful. So even if it does the added benefit of calming you down a little bit while you're trying to get through this instruction that you're trying to share, it has a couple of benefits for that as well. So our little people sometimes have very big emotions, and usually when we talk about our kids' emotions, they are often intense, and they often sometimes have that negative side to it. So when your little people are having those really, really big emotions, and you may think it's a tiny little thing, if they're having a huge reaction to them, it's a big thing. So the first thing always is to just listen, because what they might be getting upset about probably isn't the real issue. There's probably something going on underneath that you may have missed, or they haven't explained it properly, or they don't know how to explain it yet. So when they're calmer, then talk about those big emotions, the big responses. Little actions, require little responses. Big emotions are big reactions. Sorry, there's just a question there. Sometimes when your little people come across as angry, frustrated, annoyed, moody, ill-tempered, tantrums, there's just so many different methods and consequences, no consequences. And that's something you have to work out within your family and what suits your family and what suits your little people. If you threaten to take away, the iPad every time and then you never do it, it's never going to work. So if you threaten something that is like their currency, then you may have a bit of a reaction. But the trick always is if you're going to threaten something, you have to be prepared to do it. So don't ever threaten something that you're never prepared to do. But that's something that it's up to your parenting style. Always saying to your kids, it's not okay. That is okay. Being a teacher and a parent, it is okay to say no. You are allowed to say no to your kids. That is okay. Sometimes they also need a timeout, and not as in a timeout, but they need some time out of the situation, because that may be inflaming their emotions as well. A calm down space, a safe space where they can get upset, scream, rant, rave, whatever they have to do, as long as they're not breaking things. Just an environment where they know they can be safe, they can use those big emotions, and then when they're calmed down, then you can have those conversations about, big emotions, big problems, little emotions, little problems, not okay, consequences, those kind of things. So while these things are happening, it's impossible to get essential oils onto your kids. So I always recommend to preempt. If you know you have bad mornings, if you know you have evenings that are tricky, I really recommend you get some Balance and Wild Orange into your diffuser and turn it on. Like, put it on and turn it on. Like, it won't work unless you turn it on. And a couple of drops of each. The Balance and Wild Orange is actually called our tantrum tamer, and it's really good for us parents when we actually have our tantrums as well. It is a really, my daughter thinks it smells like lollies, so it will really smell amazing. Balance is our grounding blend, so it really has a lot of spruce. It's almost like walking through a misty pine forest, that aroma. Very grounding, very calming, as well as the wild orange, which is also calming as well, but uplifting at the same time. So those two combined are a powerhouse. If you don't have those, I recommend you get Adaptive into your house. Adaptive has actually changed our household every morning. It goes in the diffuser and I turn it on, and then I go wake up the kids. Having that diffusing and not even saying anything about it being in the diffuser, it's just going on in the background. The whole lounge room and the breakfast room, that all smells amazing and uplifting and awakening, but it has that calming element. So I always recommend, if you know you're having a tricky morning, or evenings, around that time, we all have those witching hour times, just have your Adaptive ready to go. You also have another option. If they are calm and happy, or afterwards when they've calmed down, this beautiful oil is one of those ones that they might learn to actually go and use themselves when they're in their calm, quiet space. This is called Steady. Steady is actually full of magnolia. It has got more linalool in it than lavender does, and that's the calming oil. And it has got amyris in it, balsam, fir. So it's got a fir in it, coriander, and magnolia, as well as the fractionated coconut oil. So it is safe for them to put it on their skin. It is the grounding blend, and it is blended to suit those little noses and not be so intense. I actually had to buy one of these from the States, but just for myself, because it's just smelled so divine. And of course, this is one of those ones that they could actually keep in a little calming box of tricks. So maybe some fiddle toys or some things they can squish, but this could sit in there as well. So that's one of their strategies that they can go and control and actually put on themselves to use that to calm. Okay, so anxiety. It's one of those things, been teaching for so long, seeing more and more kids come to school with behaviour that never presented as anxiety, but now we know it is. So disruptive behaviour, that nervous, non-compliant, oppositional, they're just the easy ones to pick. That's usually a cover for an anxiety emotion underlying. Um, a lot of people, a lot of those little people that have kind of those behavior traits because of an anxiety thing, they actually don't have the language yet. And that's why they're presenting those behaviors. They don't have the language yet to say, I'm feeling a bit worried and I'm nervous about this, or this is really upsetting me, or I'm anxious about this, or I'm worried. They haven't got that language yet. And the best thing to do for the little kids is sometimes we need to actually demonstrate that language. And it's okay to actually share this language with them, to say something like, I'm feeling a bit worried about getting to school on time, but I think we'll make it, because if we just hurry up a little bit, we'll be okay. Saying those sort of things and having those intelligent conversations with your little people is actually modeling the correct behavior, instead of throwing the cup down because you're cranky, you're not going to get to work on time, or being oppositional and not getting ready because you know you're worried about not getting ready. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So when they are in that heightened state, some things that actually in their calming toolbox and things, like with their steady and some squishy toys or something, they can, some blue tack and things, or putty that they can pull apart. Things that are really powerful for kids to do is some deep breathing. Mindfulness practices, walk away, calm space, meditation. I find that the hand breaths work really well with little children. So breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and go trace around the hand, and then you can keep going all the way around a couple of times. That's worked amazingly well with my kindergarten class last year. And the beautiful oils that we can actually substitute and also supplement, these practices is beautiful balance. Of course, that's a great one to diffuse. The adaptive roller is actually a new one that's now available in Australia. This is really good for older kids. If you have younger children, I recommend that you take the lid off and pour half of this into another 10 ml bottle and then fill both of them up. And I can help you on where to get another 10 ml bottle from. And then you have 2 bottles that are diluted probably appropriately for school-age children, that they can have one at home and one at school, and then it lasts twice as long. And another beautiful oil from our kids collection that works amazingly well is Brave. It's a courage blend. So those times when they're worried and anxious, it's very, very uplifting. So in this one, we have the fractionated coconut oil. It has wild orange, amorous, osmanthus, and also cinnamon. So it smells a bit like a donut. Pretty delicious, actually. So that's also something that those little people can have in their toolbox. Sleep, the big one. I think this is the big one, simply because if your little people are getting some sleep, if you're getting some sleep, the household can actually run and function a little bit better. So sleep routines is something that everyone talks about, but trying to actually do it is really, really difficult. But you have to try. You have to try. Turning off those devices 1 to 2 hours before bed, it has a huge effect on us, and it has an greater effect on the little people. Try to get them to eat enough, because going to bed with a hungry belly isn't going to help them get a good night's sleep. Drinking heaps before bed as well. They'll be up all night, and setting those expectations. So you're allowed to get out of the bed if you have to twice. That's it then. Going to the toilet. Can I please have another glass of water? It's like, no, you've had 3. That's it. No more. Saying that no word. That's okay. And then creating that bedtime routine that suits your family. So maybe you have sport commitments. Maybe there's other things that are going on in the household, but something that suits your family. So maybe dinner, a bath, story, or draw, some of those calming down before, winding down before bed, listening to music, lights out. So the beautiful oils that we get to use is lavender is always a beautiful one to put either in some Epsom salts and in the bath, or lavender peace is also another beautiful. It's a blend though. Lavender peace is a combination of all of the calming, relaxing oils all put into one beautiful little bottle. If your little people have a very active mind, and big people as well, which would be me, cedarwood is amazing to put diluted on the bottom of their feet, because cedarwood sometimes doesn't smell fantastic. But however, it works like an absolute charm. I swear by it. And putting it on the feet and then popping the little feet under the sheets, furthest part away from your body, but it's also the sebaceous gland. So it's taken into your body really, really easily. And the beautiful kids oils that you can rub on their pulse points, maybe on their pillowcase or maybe on a bit on their jammies, is Beautiful Karma. Now this is a blend as well, and it has your coconut oil, your lavender, Buddha Kananga, and Roman chamomile. So they're all your calming, sleeping, winding down oils. So they're beautiful to put on about half an hour before bed, and putting a diffuser on about half an hour as well before bed while they're doing a story or listening to music and things. It creates that quiet, wound down environment. And after a period of time, your little people will have that smell and then realize that it's bedtime, and we'll have that connection, memory connection as well. So there's a few other things that we can do to support our little people for their overall health. We can encourage them to eat well, rest well, they'll stay well. But especially in this current environment, it's really important to try and keep those sniffles and coughs. So there is a multivitamin that is suitable for children, and it's a chewable tablet that is, it's called A2Z. It's available from the States, as well as the IQ Omega. So, and that's a liquid form that can be mixed in with yogurt or juice and things in the mornings. So they're both available from the States. However, our Stronger is the equivalent to our On Guard blend for the adults. You can diffuse On Guard, you can put that on your kids diluted, but this is the equivalent of it. Now, On Guard is our protective blend, so it is to boost your immunity, and Easy Air is one of the clear respiratory blends. It is to help open up your respiratory system, help those sniffles, unblock those noses, those sinuses, asthma, croup, all of those things. It really helps soothe. It won't cure, but it helps soothe. So they are an absolute must during the sniffles, hay fever, cold and flu seasons, and you can diffuse both of those in the diffuser. So the Easy Air and the On Guard, you can diffuse both of those at the same time if anyone in the house even has a slight sniffle. These rollers can't be diffused because they're diluted, and they won't, you'd have to pop the lid off anyway, and so they're not suitable for diffusing. These are suitable for topical application, so putting on your skin. Okay, so here's a little bit more information about the kids collection. There is 6 oils in the kids collection, and it's available for purchase now in Australia in this really cute little box with the instructions on the back. There's one oil there that I haven't mentioned, and that's the Rescuer blend. It's amazing for growing pains, for temples in the back of the necks if they've got a tension headache, or you know, they have a bit of that tension. Massage into shoulders and backs for a bit of a soothing massage on the bottom of the feet if they've had a really, really busy day. And then there's a little bit more information there about the Thinker, Steady, and the Stronger blends. So that's a bit of an idea of some holistic ways to support our little people and some of those really big problems and some of those big issues that we run into. So what next? The first thing I suggest you to do is to contact me or contact the person who invited you onto this Zoom, and let them tailor the solutions that you need. So you would actually explain to them that you might have issues with focus, sleeping, and relaxation, so that they can actually give you some samples or suggest some oils that would be a good way to start. Think about opening up your membership, and it's as easy as starting with $35 membership. That kind of gives you like it's like a Costco membership. You get 25% off everything in the shop for 12 months, and then after that it's $25 and you get a free peppermint. So and that's worth $27. So you know, it's worth that, because if you buy 2 or 3 different oils, you're basically saving that $35 anyway. So that's a great way to start. And if you do things like that in the next few months, so this is September when this has been recorded, there's quite a few freebies every month that you would be eligible for. So always check with the person who you are talking to or invited you, or myself, what are the freebies that you would be eligible for this month. And other ways you could do it is, if some of those oils are and something that you're interested in doing, this could be a bit of a monthly plan for you to obtain all of those oils and spread it over the cost of about 4 months. So in month 1, you could probably look at, and this is all interchangeable, of course. So if there's something you needed sooner and swap something out, it's all interchangeable. So month 1, you could get the membership, a diffuser, and your balance, and that would calm everyone for a while. And then month 2, the kids collection, and month 3, a couple of those other calming oils, and then month 4, peppermint, on guard, and easy air. And if you have a look there, each month you actually would be getting some free points. And so by the end of that month 4, you'd have 113 free points to go and spend on whatever you like in doTERRA. And for us mums, things like a new skincare system is really, really special. Some frankincense or some of those more expensive oils that have less point value, that you can actually get quite a good bargain with that many points. So these are some examples. So if you wanted to then remove some of the toxins from your house, you could actually use that 113 points to get some On Guard washing liquid, the concentrated cleaner, and then the foaming hand wash. And you've still got 57 points left. So you could actually give yourself a bit of a treat, because if you've worked with some of these things, you deserve it. If those sort of things aren't an option, well, there's a couple of other kits and starter packs that you can start your oil journey with. A home essentials kit is the top 10 oils in large bottles and a diffuser. It has your membership included in it, and that's $330. A family essentials kit, and also the mood management kit. So congratulations. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you have any questions or anything that you'd like to find a little bit more specific information on, please reach out to myself or the person who invited you to this workshop, and we'd be more than happy to help tailor something to your needs and help you get started on this amazing oil journey. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Bye.